Right now at 6, the community is coming together to have a conversation about the prom photo that launched the small city of Baraboo into the national spotlight.
That photo is of a group of high school boys doing what looks like a Nazi salute. The impact it's now having on Baraboo businesses and how owners are handling the backlash.
Governor Walker also weighed in on the situation in Baraboo. His first public comment since Election Day, his thoughts on the photo and his future plans tonight at 6.
This is News 3 at 6.
It is a photo causing a variety of emotions in people around the world.
The photo shows a group of high school boys from Baraboo raising their arm in what looks like a Nazi salute. Tonight, the community is gathering to talk about this photo. Amy Reed is live at Baraboo with more. Amy?
That's right. We're live at the Baraboo Civic Center, and in about a half hour, people will join us here. A boys basketball practice just ended, but now they're setting up chairs for community members to come in and discuss how the community will bounce back from that controversial photo. You'll remember earlier in the week, that photo of high school boys appearing to give a Nazi salute went viral and got international attention. And now the community is very eager to show that this is not what Baraboo is about. I spoke with the mayor earlier. He told me that this is a completely grassroots movement. He and some of the other people from the city will be here to hear what the community has to say for ideas on how they can bounce back from this. But this is just starting at the community level. Like I said, very eager to prove that this is not what Baraboo is about. It's not something that should represent this town. We'll be live later with more. Back to you.
Amy, thank you.
Some Baraboo businesses are suffering after the backlash of that now viral photo. Our Keely Arthur joins us. She spoke with the city's Chamber of Commerce and joins us with the latest. Keely.
Absolutely, Eric. The photo showing Baraboo teenagers appearing to make a Nazi salute has prompted the hashtag Boycott Baraboo. With its robust downtown business section and major attractions like Circus World and Devil's Lake, Baraboo welcomes many people. But now visitors want to know what's being done to fix the situation before they come back.
The Ringling Brothers started their circus here in Baraboo in 1884.
The circus is what first put Baraboo on the map.
Almost as long as there's been a Baraboo, there has been a circus association.
But on Monday, Baraboo was thrust back onto the world stage, connected to something far more negative.
We've had a lot of interesting media attention over the last couple of days because of an unfortunate choice in a photograph here in town.
Since then, Scott O'Donnell, the director of Circus World's phone, has been ringing off the hook.
People from across the nation, whether they're personal friends, whether they're clients, whether they're associates, or whether they're first-time callers, wanting to know what's going on here in Baraboo.
And he is far from the only business hearing those same tough questions.
It's been sad and disappointing, devastating.
Nancy Kaflish of the city's Chamber of Commerce says they've been inundated with phone calls from across the country criticizing the city, even threatening to boycott.
I love Baraboo. I visited there every summer, and I'll consider coming back. But first, I want to know what's going to happen. What are you going to do to tackle this problem?
She says she hears those calls for change loud and clear and is committed to doing something about it. A speaker from the Jewish Council in Milwaukee will give a talk at the Chamber Monday. Diversity training will also be offered to business owners.
We've welcomed everybody, but apparently there's more work to be done.
And while more is being done, O'Donnell asks that everyone hangs in there and sticks with a city that's been known for its tolerance in the past.
The circus as an art form has always been a very welcoming art form. You know, it didn't matter what your religion was or who you choose to love or what your race was or if you were a male or female. Everybody was welcomed into the circus, and that was born out of this town of Baraboo.
We also spoke to some businesses off camera. They said this controversy has hurt their bottom line.
Keely Arthur reporting for us tonight. Keely, thank you. Governor Scott Walker also addressed the Baraboo prom photo issue today. His first time talking to the media since losing his re-election campaign.
Well, I think they're just stupid. I think they're idiots. I mean, it's as simple as that. I mean, I don't know where it's any more complicated than that. They're just a bunch of idiots. Some trying to, brush it off as youth or indiscretion, but it's still, they're idiots.
We'll have more from the governor's press conference coming up in just 4 minutes.
The Waterloo Police Department is not recommending charges against a teacher accused of dragging a student through the hall. We first told you about this incident yesterday. Well, today we learned the teacher has resigned. The incident involved a 5-year-old student. His mom says she was shown surveillance video of what happened. Administrators with the Waterloo School District say they are cooperating with the police investigation.
The attorney for Stephen Avery, the subject of the Netflix series Making a Murderer, talked openly about her investigation into his case. She released new information about her theory of the crime on Twitter today. Altogether, she sent out 69 tweets discussing evidence in the case and answering questions from viewers. She also talked a little about her theory of the crime, something she says would exonerate her client. Avery and his nephew, Brendan Dassey, are accused of killing photographer Teresa Halbach. Her remains found in the Avery family's Manitowoc County salvage yard. Avery insists police framed him. Dassey's family has argued detectives coerced him into confessing that he helped Avery rape and kill Halbach. During her Twitter update, Avery's attorney pointed her finger at Brendan Dassey's brother, Bobby Dassey, saying that he had seen Halbach at the property before and had his, quote, eye on her. You can read more about the information Zellner released on Twitter today by visiting our website, channel3000.com.
A Sun Prairie man faces several charges for driving drunk and causing a deadly crash. Nicholas Hanley was in Dane County Court today. A 60-year-old man died in the crash, and a passenger in that man's car was airlifted to the hospital. The crash happened on County Road T in the town of Sun Prairie. Deputies said they could smell alcohol in Hanley's breath and that it took him a while to admit to drinking. He failed sobriety tests at the scene and agreed to a blood test. The state crime lab says his blood alcohol level was 0.087. Court records show Hanley has 3 prior OWI convictions. Investigators are asking hunters for help this weekend in the search for missing Wisconsin teen Jamie Kloss. The state's 9-day gun deer season begins Saturday and runs through November 25th. Hunters are asked to report anything suspicious like clothing or weapons they come across. Today marks 1 month since police were called to the Kloss family home in Barron. Jamie's parents were found dead inside. Police believe she was abducted. They do not consider her a suspect in the death of her parents. Investigators have cleared more than 2,300 tips in their search for Jamie, and a special tip line has been set up for people to call. That number is listed right there on your screen and on channel3000.com.
And hunters will need to bundle up this weekend. It is still chilly out there. Here's Gary Canalti.
Well, the good news is there'll probably be some tracking snow through much of the state. Not a lot of snow, but maybe a couple of inches. But it will be on the cold side. There could be some freezing drizzle, so people traveling to go hunting Friday night, Saturday morning could run into some slippery road surfaces. Today, we were on the far northern edges of a big storm to our south and east that brought some light snow. As far north as Kenosha County. Most of the state, though, is clear of clouds. The next weather system moving through the Dakotas and Minnesota will arrive here later on tonight. On Doppler track, you can see some light snow showers north and west of the Twin Cities that could affect parts of our viewing area after midnight. But we do have an alert day in the forecast for Saturday, mainly in the morning, for additional light snow of about 1 to 3 inches and the possibility for some freezing drizzle. Our latest computer model forecast showing somewhere in the neighborhood of about 1 to 3 inches over southern Wisconsin. The exact area of the heaviest snow keeps shifting back and forth a little bit, but it'll be somewhere over southern Wisconsin. Low temperatures this morning started out in the middle teens. High temperatures today hit the lower 40s away from Lake Michigan. Here in Madison, we topped out at 41, but we've dropped back to 34 degrees with the clear skies. And by tomorrow morning, look for temperatures to be right around 30 as some light snow showers or freezing drizzle moves through. We'll be dry during the day tomorrow with a high of 40, but more light snow is likely tomorrow night. That's your first alert forecast.
Gary, thank you. The future for Governor Scott Walker is unclear tonight, but he says it has been an honor to serve Wisconsin.
He offered those comments to reporters today in his first public appearance since narrowly losing to Governor-elect Tony Evers. Rose Schmidt shares the legacy he's hoping to leave.
Eric and Charlotte, Governor Walker reflected on his 8 years in the State House, saying he has a lot to be proud of, and the outcome of the election doesn't change that. He's hoping to ease the transition on Governor-elect Tony Evers, but for now, he's giving him some room to breathe. Walker told reporters he has had a lot of offers on what to do next, but doesn't have much interest in going to Washington because his family is here. Notably, he's hoping to be remembered for his work as a reformer and says the State Assembly and Senate will continue his work.
We're not going to retreat. The state of Wisconsin is not going to go backwards. We may not go forward as fast as we'd like over the next several years, but we're going to continue to be strong. We're going to continue to have positive reforms here in the state.
Walker called on state senators on both sides of the aisle to pass legislation that would keep a Kimberly-Clark facility in northeastern Wisconsin open, saving hundreds of jobs. Walker also told reporters he's open to Republican proposals for a lame duck session that would limit the governor's executive branch powers before Evers is even sworn in on January 7th. He says what top Republican leaders at the state capitol have discussed is, quote, pretty reasonable.
Rock County is investing more than $6 million into security upgrades for the county courthouse. Upgrades will include moving guards and metal detectors to the main entrance while closing off other entrances. Work on the job started recently and will most likely be completed next fall. 2 women face charges after police found 34 malnourished horses on their Adams County farm. Our Jamie Perez spent the day in Arkdale learning more about the case.
Police are still investigating this animal maltreatment case. 2 women in Arkdale were arrested when police found 34 malnourished horses on their farm. 2 of them were dead and 1 had to be euthanized. 54-year-old Kimberly Schmidt and 57-year-old Sandra Gorman have been charged. Schmidt was charged with 1 count of mistreatment of animal causing death and 25 counts of failing to provide proper food to a confined animal. Gorman was charged with 2 counts of mistreatment causing animal death. The sheriff's department was not able to provide any other details into this ongoing investigation, but I did speak with some of their neighbors. One of them said he drives by every day and noticed the horses seem to be rapidly declining in health.
Noticed since the horses were first delivered that it seemed to be an awful lot of horses for the little bit of space they had. And some of them looked like they were on the malnourished side, and after all the water started flooding out their pasture land, it appeared to me, not being a horse person, that it was pretty obvious that there was not enough food for these horses. There were some that I don't know if it was from age or from malnourishment, but yeah, you could see the ribs. They weren't all healthy.
Many other neighbors I spoke with didn't want to go on camera, but some say they also noticed the horses didn't look good. Others saying they've never really noticed anything, and they've been good neighbors as far as they can tell. Now, multiple organizations have taken these horses into their care, but would not provide comments as to what their current condition is. We'll be sure to release those details as they become available. Reporting in Adams County, I'm Jamie Perez, WISC News 3.
Those horses that survived have been placed in new homes and received care from the Dells Equine Veterinary Services, Midwest Horse Welfare Foundation, the Woodside Ranch Mauston, and other local citizens.
Will ice storms become the new normal for us in southern Wisconsin?
We're looking into how a warming trend could impact Wisconsin in the decades to come. That's next at 6. Well, of course, we are used to dealing with the snow and cold this time of the year in Wisconsin.
But freezing rain is out of the ordinary. Meteorologist Dave Caulfield shares why this might be more common in Wisconsin's future. Dave?
Good evening, Charlotte and Eric. Yeah, freezing rain in November is basically unheard of for southern Wisconsin. This is the time of year where we're more likely to see snow falling from the sky as opposed to rain. We actually just crossed over that 50% threshold. But mixed precipitation precipitation is tough to talk about because it's very sensitive to the individual storm in which it's falling. As temperatures continue to warm across southern Wisconsin, however, Wisconsin could notice less snow and more mixed precipitation in the future.
But if you're kind of always riding the fence for cold enough to snow but not quite cold enough for deep snow, then you might end up having a few more freezing rain events than you're used to.
Professor Martin says this change will most likely occur over the course of the next 3 or 4 decades, but the impacts will be dramatic. More car accidents and power outages in an area that's not used to seeing too many icy events. Typically, freezing rain is more common across portions of the United States south of us, closer to southern Illinois, Indiana, and Kentucky and Tennessee. But Martin says that threat could move farther north over time. Now, luckily, the impacts from this potential round of freezing drizzle don't appear to be that major. There could be some slick spots in some areas. However, it really doesn't take that much freezing rain to cause major problems on the roadways.
Well, let's hope that we can avoid it altogether.
Crossing the fingers for sure.
Dave, thank you.
So to come at 6, we'll have some highlights from high school football state championship action at Camp Randall.
And a local custodian is caught red-handed doing something good. It's a people helping people story next at 6.
In weather, look for some light snow or freezing drizzle later on tonight, and perhaps a couple of inches of snow accumulation tomorrow night. I'll have your first alert forecast in just a few minutes.
A Janesville custodian is being recognized for doing something good.
Melvin Crawford works at Lincoln Elementary School in Janesville. Earlier this week, Crawford saw a student walking to the bus with socks on his hands, so he gave the child his own gloves. It caught the attention of a nearby parent. The school district of Janesville honored Crawford yesterday by giving him a Promise Keepers pin.
Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti joining us now as the weather stays cold into the weekend, Gary.
It'll be cold enough for some snow to stick to the ground. We have an alert day in the forecast for Saturday morning. For light snow that will begin Friday night and last into early Saturday morning. totals now look like they'll be in the 1 to 3 inch range. It's hard to pick exactly who's going to get the heaviest amount, but somewhere in the 1 to 3 inch range over much of southern Wisconsin. A little freezing drizzle mixed in as well could lead to some slippery road surfaces. A comparison of the computer models shows that, again, we're probably going to end up somewhere between about 1.5 inches and 2.5 inches of rain, right in the middle of that snowfall. At least here for Madison, the heaviest band of snow might shift further north, at least according to the latest computer models today. One big storm system to our south and east brought snow into southeastern Wisconsin of a couple of inches in Kenosha County. And then to our north and west, this fast-moving system will zip through tonight with some light snow, probably less than 1/2 inch, but there could be a little freezing drizzle mixed in as well. Live view from the Edgewater Skycam in downtown Madison shows that we had a low this morning of 16 degrees. The high, though, 41, a little bit closer to the average of 44. We're 34 now with partly cloudy skies. Winds out of the south-southwest at 11 give us a wind chill of 25 degrees. Over the next 7 days, after the snow, temperatures will drop off to below freezing or near freezing for early next week, but then start climbing to actually slightly above normal as we head toward the Thanksgiving holiday. And it now looks like Thanksgiving will be dry. The 8 to 14-day temperature outlook calling for above normal temperatures for much of the country from southern Wisconsin southward, but above normal precipitation expected as we get into a little more active pattern as we head into the latter part of November. There are winter weather advisories for lake effect snow over much of lower Michigan, winter weather advisories for that departing storm system to the south and east, and the next weather system that'll be here Friday night and Saturday already has some winter weather advisories to the north and west of us. The main jet stream shifting to the south, that's allowing the colder air to feed into that big storm system heading off to our east, but this next little weather system will zip on through, bringing us some light snow tonight, and then another system will follow in its wake for tomorrow night. Temperatures are starting to fall to around freezing. There's a little warm up over southeastern Minnesota, but it's followed by another shot of cold air just behind it. Forecast for tonight calls for a low of 29. Skies will become cloudy. Some light snow or freezing drizzle for a period later on tonight. Temperatures will hold nearly steady overnight. Tomorrow's high at 40. Variable cloudiness and breezy. Should be dry during the day. As we look at future tracking, see the clouds coming in later on tonight. That light snow zips on through. Then for tomorrow, look for just cloudy skies with some breaks in the clouds at times. Tomorrow night, the next batch of clouds and snow comes through. Might be a little freezing drizzle on the southern edge of that with low temperatures in the upper 20s. And then Saturday, look for high temperatures in the lower 30s with some breaks in the clouds and then clearing out later in the day. Those snowfall amounts somewhere in the 1 to 3 inch range over much of southern Wisconsin. 7 to 10 day forecast. Those temperatures on the cold side for the weekend, warming up toward Thanksgiving, and then cooling down again for the rest of the holiday weekend.
The Packers get ready to expect the expected in Seattle, and Blackhawk gets a little payback in the state title game. Stay close. One area team remains in the state football tournament, 12-0 Blackhawk. Now, the Warriors lost the title game last year. They got payback for that last week. Today, they had a date with 13-0 Edgar. And the Blackhawks sign game is very strong in the student section. We'll just say that. Second quarter, Warriors down 15-8. Edgar quarterback Carson Butt, oh, trouble. He fumbles, recovered by Reese Shelton. Blackhawk in business. Ensuing drive, Colby Argall punches in the short touchdown. Blackhawk down by a point. Third quarter, Kyle Lovelace, 1-yard score. Now Blackhawk wants to go for 2 to have a touchdown lead. Trickery. Lovelace pitches to Argall, throws to Brandon Schiffrel in the end zone. That makes it 22-15 Blackhawk. Last chance, Edgar's ball, but not for long. Warriors recover the fumble, and Blackhawk caps a perfect season. 22-15 the final. Melissa Kim has more on a game of vengeance for the Warriors.
Well, after the loss in last year's state title game, this Blackhawk squad knew they didn't want to feel like that again. So they started the journey back to Camp Randall right there and then.
And that was something we kept in our head when we woke up in the mornings and went to go work out. That was something we thought of every single day. So, you know, it was redemption. We wanted to come back to the camp and go out right.
Right after that game last year, the following week, everyone got their butt in the weight room at like 6 in the morning, so we all wanted this really bad.
When everybody knows what you want to do and you're able to still do that, that comes from those big guys up front. And I can't say enough about their effort. And they did get stronger, they got better, and that built a lot of confidence over the summer as well.
Now this one really special for this year's senior class. They overcame adversity not just in their years here, but in today's game as well.
I thought in the first half, our backs kind of ran a little tentatively, and they were challenged at halftime, and I thought they really responded in the second half with running behind their shoulder pads, and picking up key north-south first downs in yardage.
I was a little timid in the first half, and, you know, I came out and I'm like, okay, this is my last half ever playing high school football, so I'm going to give everything I got, and lowered the shoulder a couple times, got an extra yard.
And with this state title, Blackhawk finishing its season a perfect 13-0. This state title, their second in school history. At Camp Randall, Melissa Kim, News 3 Sports.
Melissa, thank you. Well, it's not panic time for the Packers and Seahawks, but it's definitely not time for calm. Both teams need to stack wins if they want to even think about the playoffs. Packers haven't won a road game yet. Seahawks' 5 losses have come by 8 points or less. Seattle quarterback Russell Wilson sounds anxious when asked about their final 7 games. Aaron Rodgers knows what's coming his way in about an hour.
They're still playing their Seattle defense. They obviously rely on vision to the football at times and flying around. And it's a similar style that we've seen over the years, just different guys in those spots.
I think there's a great sense of urgency. I think there's a calmness. I think that there's also great confidence. I think there's lasered focus that we have. I know that this team is very, very capable of doing what we're setting out to do.
Real quick, Christian Yelich, your National League MVP, got 29 of 30 first-place votes. We knew that was going to happen.
We knew that was
a big
coming.
surprise. Right. Even from a Cub fan.
With Gary.
Yeah, we've got some snow on the way. Most of it will be tomorrow night into early Saturday morning, maybe about a 1 to 3 inch snowfall with some freezing drizzle mixed in as well. Otherwise, look for a cold weekend, warming up toward Thanksgiving, then colder at the end of the holiday weekend.
Well, thanks for joining us for News 3 at 6.
Enjoy your evening, and we'll see you back here at 10.